Todd, and this is take 2, so that's why we're a little late and why it wasn't uploaded to Spotify or Apple Podcasts this morning. DJ, so that we're not having to try to fake our conversation from yesterday, I'll try to keep it somewhat new. But yesterday you told me your reaction from the playoff rankings was that Vandy was, say, underrated. Is that what you said? Or disrespected, I think was the term you said.
Yeah, I think it's
So,
the logo, honestly.
so you're going to have to, well, I understand what you're saying with the logo. You're going to have to help me out a little bit more than that. Why do you think that?
So if you put LSU's logo over Vanderbilt, they're in.
Okay, you're going to have to provide me something more than that. I fuss at people all the time for just making generic statements.
Well,
So,
let me pull up the Vandy schedule real quick. And I
so
don't
who
know.
should they be in over? Why you do that?
Who should they be in over? Well, that's a good question. Would they beat Miami? No, they didn't beat Texas at Texas. They lost by what? A score. And if they would have recovered that onside, they very well could have tied it or won it. UIU, I know, is at 11, so technically they're not in. They would beat them, I believe. Notre Dame's lost. Notre Dame is essentially Vanderbilt. Ooh, that's going to piss some people off. Notre Dame's lost their only 2 hard games all year. Vanderbilt lost their only really hard games all year. Now, granted, they were both away, while Notre Dame lost them. They lost one at home and one at Miami, right? So, if you look at the Vanderbilt schedule, LSU, they played LSU, beat LSU. Now, granted, that was a team that hadn't fired their head coach yet. Was very close to it. They obliterated South Carolina, which everyone at the time thought South Carolina was going to be a pretty decent football team this year. Then you look, 14-30 Bama. Scores a little.
Yeah, Bama had a late touchdown to pull that away.
Right. So, score doesn't tell the whole story there. Missouri was a ranked team when they came to town. 34-31 in Austin when, it was an incredible fourth quarter comeback. So, if they play a better game and don't have to come that far down, they started that game the worst possible way. It was like, an 80-yard touchdown or something ridiculous to start. Overtime at Auburn. We talked about Auburn yesterday, and I don't know if we're going to talk about them again today, but we both said that Auburn is not a universally bad football team. They're an SEC bad football team. And if you look at their schedule, you'll see why. We talked about their game against Baylor, where I think they had the same record as Baylor.
Yeah,
right?
both teams are 5-7.
And you would rather play Baylor instead of Auburn. And Auburn doesn't have their head coach, and Baylor still does. So there's that. They killed Kentucky. Texas did not.
No.
That was a really tough game for them. And then, going to Tennessee and going to Neyland and beating the absolute crap out of them was awesome, even though I had to watch it in an airport.
Well, I was thinking about this last night too afterwards, and it was kind of changing and it was more about Notre Dame. So the only other team that I could think of that played both A&M and Miami this year was Florida.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to give Notre Dame Florida's schedule, would they still be 10-2? Florida schedule, LIU, yeah, they win that game. South Florida, I'll go Notre Dame. At LSU,
Hard place to play.
at Miami, we already know they lost that one. Texas, at A&M, they lost to A&M at home.
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State's going to be gritty, but I'll give Notre Dame that game. Georgia, at Kentucky,
Yeah.
at Ole Miss,
No.
Tennessee,
No.
Florida State. Now, the only pushback I'll give you on Tennessee is anybody good, so to speak, that Tennessee played, they lost to. But Tennessee did handle their business against teams that were, quote unquote, not good, and not good in the sense that I think you and I would also agree that, like, Florida's not a bad team. Like, they have bad moments.
Mm-hmm.
They did fire their coach. Talent-wise, that is not a bad roster.
No.
because Florida put a scare into Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
They mollywopped Texas. I don't care what if it only was an 8 point difference. Like that was a game that Florida was in control from the kick, probably from the coin toss. Um, they put a scare into Ole Miss, and just if Lagway doesn't throw 500 interceptions against LSU, they might steal that one. They didn't look competitive against Miami. They did look overmatched against Miami, but that's just another example of a team kind of like Auburn. I would probably choose Auburn over Florida at this moment, to where its record's bad, talent is not.
Mm-hmm.
Vandy, I'm gonna run through Massey's power ratings of opponents for. Let's go do Notre Dame first. So their toughest opponents were power ranked 14 Miami, 8 Texas A&M, and 16 USC. So you've got those three, and outside of that, their next toughest is Pitt at 37. So Pitt 37 is going to be their fourth toughest opponent that they played all year. Indy, on the other hand, has 19 Tennessee, 35 Auburn, 12 Texas, 21 Mizzou, 23 LSU, 6 Alabama, and so they've got, and that was it as far as who's above the Notre Dame's fourth highest. So they've got six tougher matchups than Notre Dame does, and I've still got Notre Dame people commenting on my TikTok from the other day. Let me see if I can pull up what this one said last night. I'm just flabbergasted that these people are still bringing this up. He said, where did it go?
Well, before
Every,
you even say anything, like, you weren't saying any opinionated things. That's the funniest part.
right. I was reading off Notre Dame's schedule and what their opponents had done. This guy commented, every single team they, meaning Notre Dame, play has or is a reliably good team, except Navy. We play them every single year for good reason.
What's the
Um,
good reason? That's so stupid.
right, you don't have to. Reliably good team is Miami. Reliable. I wouldn't rely on Miami, but I would say Miami generally has enough talent on there to be considered a good team. A&M, reliably 8-4 with the exception of this year. Enough talent on there to be a good team. Is Purdue a reliably good team?
In basketball,
Is Arkansas a reliably good team?
in baseball,
Is How would we classify Boise State here?
I mean, they've been competitive my entire life, but that's a Mountain West school. Soon to be Pac 12 school.
Yeah. NC State.
No. My friend's going to hate me for that. No.
But it's true. And I
Yeah.
say that as somebody that has lived in North Carolina his entire life. Like, NC State has moments. NC
Hmm.
State is sometimes a team that you don't want to mess with. Generally speaking, that's a game that you should win. USC. All right, I'll give them that one. Brand wise, I'll give them that one. Boston College.
No.
Navy, which he said except Navy. So we'll just say except Navy here. Pitt.
Uh, in like the 70s
Syracuse.
in basketball.
Not even.
Not
Stan-
now.
yeah. Stanford.
When Andrew Luck was there.
I'm really going to make my Notre Dame friend mad because he went to Syracuse. So he's a Notre Dame fan and went to Syracuse, and I just called out both of his schools. Um, but yeah, I have a hard time with that guy's argument. Can't really buy into the fact that everybody's a reliably good team that Notre Dame plays, because it's just simply not true. I'm not sitting here saying that Notre Dame's not a good team. I think Notre Dame has a lot of talent. I think Jeremiah Love is the best running back in the country. But when you start comparing resumes, Notre Dame's does not match that of an Alabama, that of a Vanderbilt, that of. It's hard for me to sit here and say it compares to Miami when Miami beat them head to head. And if that's not going to count, then I don't even know
I
what
mean,
we're
if
talking
we
about.
looked at the teams behind Notre Dame, right? I think now Miami played an ACC schedule, but they did beat Notre Dame. Um, Texas has played a harder schedule. Vanderbilt's played a harder schedule.
And we give Texas a lot of crap for their schedule, but they still had to play Georgia. They still had to play Oklahoma. They still went to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I know they're 1-2 in those 3 specific games, but like they still played those games.
Yeah. And it's so hard to week one. Do you know how far away that was?
I just ask people who hate Alabama, and they'll tell you it wasn't that far at all.
Yeah, it's week one to week whatever number we're at. Conference championship week is a completely different season.
Whoa, whoa.
It
Anybody losing to Florida State is not
yeah,
allowed in the playoff, DJ. That's what the
it's a
comments say.
completely different season. Your team from week one to now is not the same team. You should beat the team from week one. That's what should happen. Georgia's conference championship team would beat week one Georgia by 3 scores.
Yes.
So like, I mean, you got to get hot at the right time. Vanderbilt got hot at the right time. They're firing on all cylinders. Now it's hard to say Notre Dame didn't get hot at the right time because they went 0-2 and then won the rest of their games.
But we
Granted,
all like. There's a lot
they
of people that said this was going to happen, and
yeah.
like we were one of those at the beginning of the season before we even started this. It was like, watch, Notre Dame's going to go 10-2, and they're going to get in the playoff having not beat anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um. All
Well,
right, but now,
that's what gets to happen when you're an independent and you refuse to join a conference.
yeah, NBC pays a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
How much stock do you put in? Because yesterday was National Signing Day. How much do you look into the recruiting?
I don't at all. I trust Kirby
Right.
to
Yeah.
do what he's going to do. I don't care what the star by their name is because it's completely irrelevant if we're honest. That star gets attributed a lot in times because of who's recruiting who. You can have a 2-star guy that's not getting recruited by a lot of people, and he's going to be better than a 5-star. I mean, how many Super Bowls have we had with 0 5-star starters?
A lot.
Yeah. So
I don't disagree with you. It was just I saw two things that like stuck out to me from this. For anybody wondering, USC won or has the best class right now. Bama's 4, Georgia's 5. But Bud Elliott, this was the first time I think since 2008 that an SEC school did not finish with the top ranked class. But Bud Elliott tweeted something, and you and I have actually talked about this before, how people need to reset their expectations when it comes to what's a successful season and what's not. And I think this is more evidence of it. Bud Elliott tweeted last night, a decade ago, 85 points in the 247 Sports recruiting rankings was the gap between number 1 and number 16 class. 85 is the gap between number 1 and number 32. 50 was the gap from first to 8. Now 50 is the gap from first to 16. Teams are getting better. Talent is definitely getting spread out. And I mean, you just look at it like the difference between Tennessee, who finished 7, Georgia, is 3 points. And I mean, North Carolina finished with the 17th best class. North Carolina finished above Clemson and right behind Florida.
yeah.
And so, yeah, do with that what you will. I just thought it was interesting because one, SEC school didn't finish with the top class, but then two, it really does kind of show how even the talent pool has gotten for whatever reason that you may or may not think that is.
One thing about recruiting that I almost texted you about yesterday. Penn State's screwed.
What do you mean, Kalen DeBoer's going to go to Penn State
Yeah, they are so far up the creek. They have no shot. They fired Franklin
to
for
get ahead of
losing
everybody?
to Oregon at home, right? And granted, terrible loss at UCLA, horrendous. But they fired him. No plan. Tried to get ahead of everybody, or behind literally everybody, and just had signing day.
Penn State is well, they're not behind everybody. They're in front of Prairie View A&M in the
Wow,
rankings,
awesome.
just behind McNeese and Army.
Yeah, I saw they were like behind Harvard at one point.
They might still be. I'm pulling it up now. I'm having to scroll a lot. Harvard's 131. Penn State is currently 150.
Yeah, behind South Dakota State.
Behind South Dakota State, McNeese, and West Georgia, and Towson, North Dakota State, Montana, Navy, Montana State.
I don't want that to be misconstrued as a shot at South Dakota State. Jackrabbits are
Right.
awesome.
It's not a
Like
shot at South Dakota State.
South
But
Dakota State would smoke Penn State probably right now. So
currently, yes. Well, if they played today, I don't think so. If they played next year, yes.
I don't know. They might play right now. And
I don't know. Penn State's still big competitive.
South Dakota
Um,
State's
I'm not saying that South Dakota State's not good, like bad, but Penn State has still been competitive, even with everything kind of going on.
mm-hmm.
All right. Another quick preview of the SEC championship. What are you? I know we talked about this yesterday, and I'm going to try to stay away from some of my baseball analogies that I used yesterday. But what are your thoughts, comments, concerns for Georgia going into this game?
Concerns is they see the numbers on the side of that stupid crimson helmet and freak out. I don't know. Like it's the same stuff over and over. This is it's the SEC championship. That's what it is. It's the biggest game of the year. Georgia's biggest threat to themselves in this game is themselves. They can beat Bama. They just get in their head, I think. Everyone tries to do too much, and when you do too much, you're gonna mess up. You're not gonna be able to get the ball off the field on third down. They're not gonna play that stupid sound effect. I know we talked about that yesterday, but
That's a shame.
yeah,
That
no,
sound
it's not.
effect worked.
It
That sound effect worked. It was a
yeah,
second down sound, and second down was phenomenal for
yeah,
Georgia's
and
defense.
third down and fourth down, terrible. Atrocious. I knew the game was over the last time we played before we even had before we had the ball for the second time because we started with the ball. And I looked at my wife and I said, "Here's what's going to happen. We're going to go 3 and out. We're going to punt. They're going to go down and score, and the game's going to be over." So, um, I debated going to Athens that weekend and the next weekend. Glad I didn't that first one. So, I don't know. Like I've said for the past 2 years, Georgia should win. I hope I'm right this time.
Now, there's several games here in the past that Georgia should have won. I mean, for me, like I think to really get technical here, the A gap is going to be huge for both these teams since Bobo's out at center for
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, and Parker Brailsford is he's definitely hurt for Alabama. He's the transfer center from Washington that came from Washington with DeBoer. Really good center. He's got a huge like cast on his foot, and you just you watch what he did and his mobility. Like he's just not moving at the same rate that he was earlier in the season. I mean, he got pushed around by much smaller guys against Auburn because he's on one foot,
Mm-hmm.
and so the center position is going to be one that I think is going to be very interesting to watch for both sides. I saw that Colby Young is out for Georgia too. I mean, he had a couple big catches in that first game for Georgia. Josh Cuevas is out for Bama though, or questionable. Jam Miller's questionable. Both these teams are beat up, and I understand everybody's beat up at this time of year, but you're seeing people that were relied upon that are out for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's going to be interesting to kind of see who can step up. I think both pass rushes for both squads have gotten better. First game, Georgia could not get to Ty Simpson to save their life, and I think that's a lot of why they had so much success on third down that they did. Um, I don't necessarily see that being the case this time around. I think if it really comes down to it, if you watch where like Simpson has struggled over the past couple games, players have still been open,
Mm-hmm.
but because of pressure, Simpson's either forced to scramble to his side or he's not able to get through his progressions.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think you can really attribute that to both sides. Like, which side is going to get the pressure when they need it
Mm-hmm.
and force either quarterback to kind of not allow him to go through his progressions? Because I was watching somebody today like Gunnar Stockton didn't play well against Georgia Tech. No, I don't. I don't think he did either. I think you're allowed to have one bad game because it's hard to be very good every game.
And if
And
you're gonna
so,
have a bad game, do with that game.
Right. And so I don't know. It's always an interesting game because it's always just whether it's been Kirby versus Saban or now Kirby versus DeBoer. This is, I think, two elite coaching staffs going at each other and seeing which one can kind of get one leg up and kind of maintain that the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
no, it's always a hard fought game. The two fan bases, I don't know. I don't think they necessarily hate each other. I think it's like a mutual respect because they see how Alabama fans see how the greatest program of all time was built, and they see Georgia's just you know Saban built Georgia too, is what they say or whatever. But you know, I'm totally cool with Georgia's head coach learning from Nick Saban. It
I was
doesn't
gonna say,
hurt my feeling.
well, even I don't understand why Georgia fans would have a problem with that because, and I say that because, like, okay, he did,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
Georgia's
don't
won two
think
national titles. Like, who
right.
cares?
Yeah, I don't think Georgia fans have any problem with it. Bama just
Yeah,
tries to little brother Georgia for some reason, which makes no sense because their academics are trash. But um, like
we're really going to talk about academics when we're talking about SEC football.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, you
Hey,
really don't.
that's what you got to do at some point. When you've lost a lot of football games, you just got to say, hey, it's harder to flip a pancake than it is to get into the University of Alabama. Anyway, back to football. So I mean, they like to try to say, oh well, you're only good because of us. Sure, whatever. Okay.
But who cares?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I
Good.
mean, I guess that's what I don't understand that argument. You're only good because of us. Okay, well, as long as I'm good, I don't care why I'm good.
Yeah. Great.
Uh,
Oh, darn. The national championship trophy say Georgia on them. How
I
terrible.
Yeah. But it's interesting you say that, and I'll say this real quick. I have seen like videos on this actually a couple weeks ago. I don't remember who exactly it was, but like Kirby that first year would actually show like film from Alabama and be like, "You need to do this."
Hmm.
It would piss all those guys off,
Good.
but they went and did it.
Yeah.
Because you look at the jump from year one to year two with him making it to the national title, playing against Bama.
And
Maybe don't blow a coverage.
probably should have won it.
There's no probably, just don't blow a coverage against a backup quarterback. For those that care, Georgia's 2.5 point favorite. I told you yesterday I ran the massive matchup tool and just did it again. It's got Bama winning 26-24. Do with that what you will. I don't know what to think of this game. This is the one game a year that Bama plays, and I'm a negative thinker in general, and I think Bama could lose games based off of who they're playing. This is the one game a year that I look at it and I'm like, Bama is going to lose. But it's
Hmm.
more of a respect thing for what's on the other side, more so compared to what I act like me being a negative thinker. It's a game that obviously I want to win. I think Bama has the capability of winning, but like this is the one game a year that you look at and you're like, I don't know how this is going to go.
Yep. No, that's what makes it fun and stressful and terrible all at the
Yes,
same time.
and makes me have to go to confessional, even though I'm a Baptist and don't believe in that. Um, all right, cool. Anything else before we hang up here? Hopefully this one doesn't get lost like the last one did. We did speak a lot of nice things about Auburn last time. Too bad nobody's going to hear it.
Yeah. We talked about Auburn for like 15 minutes about how actually capable they are as a program.
Yeah. Shout out Nicole Auerbach for causing that because she said that Notre Dame is scheduled nothing but Auburn. And then we noted how that would make Notre Dame's schedule significantly tougher than it actually was,
How they'd probably go like 6-6.
especially if all games are at Jordan Hare.
If they're all at Jordan, they'll
Yeah.
go 5-7.
Yeah. Oh, did you see Hugh Freeze just came out of nowhere and threw Jackson Arnold under the bus?
Did not.
Yeah. It was an interesting one. He was on David Pollock's show and just came out and basically just threw Jackson Arnold under the bus, and basically saying, seemed like he was saying rather that Jackson Arnold's the reason why he got fired versus him taking responsibility for not really being that good of a coach.
Hmm.
Who's the most hated man? See, that's a shame because it'd be fun if he was still around because then it'd be like, well, Brian Kelly was the most hated coach in the SEC, and that included Hugh Freeze existing. If Hugh Freeze still existed, would Lane Kiffin now be the most hated man in the SEC with Hugh Freeze?
But I would go to like who's the most maybe morally corrupt person
Oh,
versus like who's just kind of underhanded and leaves a football team twice.
Mm.
I don't know. I still think Hugh Freeze is a worse person than Lane Kiffin. But I don't know. I don't know anything about Lane Kiffin.
I know what social media is telling me. I'm
Yeah,
not
and
going to
he
say any of
doesn't
it
seem
here.
great.
Yeah, I'm not going to say any of it here because I don't know. But evidently, he doesn't care if he gets defamed because did you see the SEC Shorts video that dropped yesterday?
I
They
haven't
dropped
watched it yet.
they dropped one making fun of Lane and Juice, and Lane thought it was funny on Twitter. So he evidently doesn't care if he gets a defamation against him or not. He's
Apparently,
just.
the dog's moving to Baton Rouge now.
I've seen the over under that the dog will be dead in 2 weeks.
Dang, fed to the tiger.
Um, Lane just won't take care of him since he didn't take care of him for 2 years and somebody else did. On that note, roll tide.
Yeah, go dogs.